All right, welcome back, everybody. So this week, I've got the national sales rep from CIC with me, Nestor Suarez. Man, thanks for coming on and doing this. I think this is going to be a great video, and a lot of people have a lot of questions on who CIC is. So I think we can get a lot of those questions answered, and they can put a face with a name as well.
Thank you for having me, Eric.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your background in the coating industry and kind of how you ended up at CIC, just, real briefly. I know you've got a long history, so.
Yeah, it's been a long road for me. I started in the paint industry, actually in the coating industry with AkzoNobel, a little bit over maybe 30 years ago. It was a long career. I've worked for Akzo for many years, nationally, overseas, China, Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia, Mexico, South America, anywhere where they could send me, and I was always the one raising the hand. I'll go. So,
nice.
Last stint with Akzo was in 2004. I was in China, south of China, close to Hong Kong. Decided to come back to the U.S. At that time, Akzo was downsizing, so I pretty much came back and was looking for a company to partner up with. And through a mutual friend of myself, I came across Miles Woolley. Miles Woolley is I would say a legend in the coating industry. And he's a very good chemist, one of the best I've ever come across. And at the time, I reached out to him because I decided to open up my own distributorship. And I was looking for lacquers and sealers and stuff like that. And we started talking there for a couple of months. And this was back in, I want to say 2007, around there, 2008. And he just kind of called me back a month later and say, hey, man, hold on. There's something in the pipeline. I don't want to kind of let the cat out of the bag. I said, okay, I'll hold on. And then a month later, he said, hey, we bought a company. We're starting a new company. We bought a company that's been in existence since 1969. So it's just under new management. We bought it. We're new management. It's a paint company that's been around 1969. And me and my partner are going to do it. Would you like to come work for us? And I took a gamble and I said, yeah, I'm up for the task, and that's how I came to CIC. And CIC was a very local, regional company in Texas. Has a lot of following in Texas at that time, and as a team effort, myself, Miles, and Tom, and the principals of the company, we'd opened up. We went west and came west, and because I've always worked in the west, and so got a lot of customers, distributors, and that's how just the ball came rolling on. What really opened up the market for us in the west at the time was our water-based technology. That is something that Miles really focused his efforts on. So that's what opened up the west, and that's how we grew.
Yeah, nice. Well, so that's a great segue. So what is, CIC known for? I mean, you guys were primarily OEM coatings. That's kind of like your bread and butter, right?
Mm-hmm. CIC, what the word actually stands for, custom industrial coatings. I always use this analogy as describing CIC to a new potential OEM. And you're right. A lot of our business is direct to original equipment manufacturers, OEMs. What we tend to do is we come into a situation where, for example, let's say a huge cabinet manufacturer is using X brand, and one of the big players, X brand.
Sure.
These big players. I worked for one of them, and I've also worked for PPG, so I'm very familiar with how they produce them. They do, I just say, a conversion varnish. They do 30,000, 40,000 gallons of conversion varnish, right? Or 100,000 or whatever that amount would be. And they might have 1,000 customers using that conversion varnish. Out of those 1,000 customers, there might be, some are in Florida, some are in Seattle, some are in Texas, some are in California, and the weather changes, application method changes. So what they would say, well, I like the product, but I wish it would do this, and I wish it would dry this way, and I wish it would do this. That's where we step in. That's where our bread and butter and our ability is to come in, listen to the customer, the OEM customer. Okay, Mr. OEM, what would you like it to do? Well, I would like it to dry 5 seconds quicker, and I would love to have it this way. That's when we go into the lab. Miles goes into the lab, R&Ds it to meet and exceed the customer's expectations. That's what differentiates us from the big boys.
Sure.
Not that the big boys don't do it, but if you're not a big player, if you're not an end user that is using, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of material a year from them, they're not going to focus. Their analogy is, how am I going to tweak a product that 1,000 other people are using, only to tweak it and change it for 2 or 3 people?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense for them.
Sure.
For us, that's our bread and butter.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So can you share with us, because I know a lot of people, it's been cool to talk to you guys and get to know some of the products that we see in the malls, and your products are all over the place, and a lot of people don't realize it. Is there some of those? I know some of them you can't talk about for privacy reasons, but are there some that you can share with my subscribers and viewers on some of the products that are out there that they see every day and they don't know it?
Absolutely. The one I can talk about is it used to be, they got bought out recently. It was called Copper Plank or Vintage Hardwood. They were a premier high-end commercial and residential flooring manufacturer in Phoenix. And they just recently, well, not recently, about a little bit over a year ago, got bought out by a bigger company called Gallagher. Copper Plank and Vintage Hardwood had a national contract with the Limited Group, which owns Victoria's Secrets, the Limited Stores. There's a couple of stores under them, but
sure.
Victoria's Secret has gone through a lot of coatings over the years, the maintenance coatings. So when Copper Plank got awarded the national contract, they actually used our water-based single-component polyurethane flooring, and that's what you will see nationwide in the Victoria's Secrets. Mostly the Victoria's Secrets, where all the wood is at. It could be a pink, the infamous, famous Victoria's Secret pink, or a clear, or a black. That's polyurethane. That's CIC polyurethane in nationwide in the Limited Group.
Yeah, so I have a can of that right here, and I've shot and done some testing with you guys on it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be doing a video actually on this on some stairs coming up in a month or so, and I'm going to be using this product as the top coat on it. But really great product. It sprays great. It sprays great out of all. I mean, it's a very simple product to use. I really like it.
It's a very friendly user. Funny story. I don't want to prolong it inside, but the Victoria's Secrets actually ended up calling Copper Plank 6 or 7 months after they started supplying them with this product. And obviously the plant manager at the time called me and said, man, I just got a call from Victoria's Secrets. And I was going, oh my God, what's wrong, right? What's going awry? And he says, funny story. He goes, they're calling because they're complaining that they have maintenance groups standing around paying them to do nothing. They're running out of sense because before they switched to the polyurethane, before they went to our polyurethane, the crews every 3 months, and this is they had crews going around the nation. Every 3 to 4 months, they would have to come in as soon as the store would close, move stuff around, sand, give it a maintenance coat, put the stuff back or in the morning and have the store reopen. They weren't having to do that. It was holding up so well that they actually called and say, wow, we got crews standing around, not knowing what to do. You know?
So you made it too good. That's funny.
Yeah,
That's a great story.
Yeah.
That's great. So is there any other OEM companies that you can talk about? Or
one of the companies, and this is a story how we ended up with them. Now, currently, they moved their operation, and it's gone down to Southeast Asia. But at one time, Fetzer is the company that does. If you go into the Apple stores, where you see the iPhones, you see the iPads, and if you go into the stores, you'll see these long, elongated tables where all these products are sitting down on display. Some are white, some are natural maple. Not all the stores now. I remember this just before they went to China, the overseas, but Fetzer, again, that was kind of a fluke how we ended up there. And that Fetzer company, we had a distributor in Salt Lake City, and Fetzer's always been a lacquer house, a solvent lacquer house. And a couple of years back, don't know exactly, about 8 years or so, a report came out of some of the worst environmentally friendly companies. And behold and behold, Apple was mentioned on the list. So that kind of drove Apple to go to their vendors to start using renewable, recyclable, all these other things, green certified, LEED certified products, and that's how it trickled down. Fetzer then started looking for a water-based product that they could spray on the tables. Then they went through all those usual suspects, the big boys,
Sure.
And every water-based at that time, again, I'm saying 8-9 years ago, was not where it's today. It's always some water-based have a tendency to be milky, leave an after plasticky look,
Sure.
so forth. And our distributor, who was a distributor for another product, a Canadian product, finally said he had a sample there that I was trying to promote to him to carry, because I knew he had this Canadian water-based product that now is a U.S. product bought by a U.S. company. He took that quart sample that he never tested. He took that quart sample and just gave it to Fetzer and said, "Here, try this." And about a week later, we get a call in corporate from this company. They actually passed it on to Tom Humiller, who is the president and CEO of the company. And he says, the first thing he said, "Hey, we tried your product and we're not going to buy it through a distributor." So he got caught off guard. I said, okay, hold on. Who are you? What's going on? And the whole story when we're so and so and so, we're Fetzer this, and we've been trying different water-based products for the last 8 months. And every product that we tested, because the engineer would walk out of the sample room and they would put the big maple solvent finished tables and then the panels, the water-based panels on top of it. And he goes, and he could see 20 feet away the difference between the solvent on the table and the water-based panels. And he says, "No, that looks different. Not until we tested your water-based conversion varnish that he stepped out. He had to come up to the table and he looked at the panels, looked at the table, and he questioned us. He goes, "Did you use a solvent to finish the panel?" He goes, "No, this is this company. This is CIC water-based. This is a water-based." And so they go, "You're the first company that has a water-based that almost looks exactly like a solvent-based."
Yeah, that's my favorite, and I actually have an example of that here. If I can get the light right, this is the flat sheen in the CIC. And one of the things we kind of talked briefly before we got on is that in your all's line, like, just in my opinion, I feel like that flat looks more like a 20 sheen solvent based, conversion varnish or a lacquer. When you get into the satin, to me, it gets a little bit more on the glossy side. So I've always preferred the flat. And honestly, I didn't know until a couple of months ago that you guys had the flat in the pigmented as well. So I'm excited about this because for me, like I said, I like a little duller sheen on it, and my clients like that a little better. So I'm really excited to try that one out because I didn't honestly know it existed. But can you talk a little bit about the sheen levels in your product so that people have a little bit more information on that?
Absolutely. We have 4 standard glosses, or sheens, as people call them, and we really numerically value in our satin, semi, and gloss and flat might be different than the brand X. Numerically, what we see or we use in our product is a flat will be between a 10 and 15 gloss, around there, a flat 10 to 15 gloss. Our satins are going to range between 25 and 30 gloss. Our semi-glosses is between 50 and 60, and anything over 80 we consider gloss. That's our basically standard glosses that we make. And you'll find those same ranges in pigmented, clear, both in water and in our solvent line. That's what we go by.
Yeah. Now, speaking of the gloss, I haven't messed that much with water-based glosses, but I got a can for a project, and it was funny. It was supposed to be in gloss, and then they changed their mind to a flat. I don't know how that happens, but anyway, so I shot some of these panels for my wife's artwork that she does, and I was really impressed with this is straight off the gun. You can see how good that is.
Yeah.
The only issue that I had, and a couple of people have brought this up, and I know you're willing to talk about this to help people out, and I appreciate that, is like sometimes in these water-based glosses, you'll get little bitty pinholes, and it's not just related to your product. People have seen it in almost all the water bases, and they shy away from it. But you guys kind of have a solution to that, and we've worked together on even some of the other, the satin sheen and some of the other, and I think we've got it, pretty figured out, and we've removed that issue, or now we know how to at least better deal with that issue if it comes up. So would you speak about that for just a minute?
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's the nature of the beast. Any water base will, as you stir it, you introduce air, to the product, stirring, spraying, agitating, so forth. In water-based products, those air molecules or those air bubbles are slower to evaporate or slower to dissipate versus a solvent product. That's inherently nature, it's just in the product. And it happens to us, and it happens to a lot of other companies.
Sure.
The way I tend to resolve these issues with customers is either one, you add EB, which is a natural water-based retarder, and it's all systematically. Let's say you put on your first coat of clear conversion varnish, and you have bubbles trapped there. The way at that particular point is the preparation. Sand as much as you can off that surface, that bubble, open up, and then when you put on your last coat or your second coat, last coat, some people do 2, some people do 3, depending on whatever the flavor is. The very last coat, add a little bit more EB to it so you can have open time, so the material doesn't skim, and whatever air is trapped in there has the opportunity to dissipate. And obviously, have the opportunity to move on and so forth. Now, are you going to get them all out? I'll be the first one, and full disclosure, you might have 1 or 2, right? Particularly in the higher gloss. Notoriously, the higher the gloss is, it's like a magnifying glass. You're going to see every imperfection. At that case, when you're done with the coating, because it's gloss, and it's more elbow grease, I will buff them out. I'll get a wet sandpaper, the same that they use in the automotive industry, 1,000 grit, 2,000 grit, or whatever. Kind of sand them, then do the polish it, finesse it, and buff it out. And that's how I eliminate. Can I honestly sit here and tell you you're not going to get bubbles? No, I would be lying to you. It's just how you prepare it from the beginning of your first coat. Make sure if you see them trapped, you get them out, and then add the extra steps to it.
Sure.
I've seen equipment work better than others. And I'm not by any means promoting this. I just happen to see a lot of our customers using Kremlin tips and Kremlin pumps. I'm not exactly sure what tip size is, but I can obviously find out and send you a memo on some of the tips that are being used with our water base that I don't see as much or very little bubbles in the film surface.
Yeah, I actually have that information because Miles actually sent it to me because I asked him just out of curiosity when we were working on this issue. And he said that generally, obviously, your OEM guys are running like a 30-to-1 ratio pump, which is a much bigger pump.
Right.
But they're actually, interestingly enough, running bigger tips. But he said he's seen all the way down to like from an 11 to a 15.
Right.
But now I feel like we got to keep in mind, too, when we're saying this, that, I would assume that most of these are flat lines. And obviously, you can get away with putting way more on flat than you can on a vertical surface. So, if you're going vertical, actually you can use a 13. I did an experiment where I used a 13 tip and I was able to just put 2 coats on and call it good. Now that was on a maple surface, a hard maple, which obviously, always takes finishes better and doesn't suck up as much finish as some of the other ones. But I think you're good in those ranges with those tips. Now, one thing that just from my perspective, shooting this for 6 years, I actually like to use your water base out of an HVLP system. I've had way less issues with that than I have some of the other ones. And I think a lot of it has to do with what you're talking about, the agitation on some of these pumps, the smaller pumps. They're just creating more agitation in it. But one thing I've noticed is if you'll run your fluid pressures lower, that helps as well, because one of the good things about your all's coating is it doesn't take a ton of fluid pressure or air to atomize the coating properly.
Correct. Yes, that's very important. It's very important. What we tend to do is particularly in the water base, because we know the inherent nature of the equipment is going to introduce air. He formulates it where it's very forgiving on lower pressures, and they tend to lay out and stays open and has flow, and they level out. That's one of the things that we've always tried to emphasize on when we develop this product.
Yeah, one thing that's unique about your product that is probably the reason why I like it so much is it's one of the only water bases. I only know of one other company that has something similar to this, and the problem with theirs is it's more of like a hobby type finish. It's not an industrial wood coating. But your all's conversion varnish like burns in like a lacquer. Now it's not 100% like a lacquer, but I've actually been able to touch up in the middle of a panel and then take like a paper bag and kind of rub it out, and it disappears. As a matter of fact, I've got a video on my Instagram somewhere about that, where I just took the gun just right in the middle of a panel and it dried out, and you couldn't see that I did that.
Right.
So that's one of the things that's like really awesome. And where that helps, I know Greg had a video of Thomas Craven talking about that, where you're shooting inside of cabinets. That's such a big, huge help, especially with water base. You get in those corners and things, and it just makes a huge difference in that. So that's one of the unique things about, your all's product. Not to mention all this testing and stuff I've done. It is the most durable 1K product on the market with no additives added to it, period, the end. Actually, I have this panel here. I don't even know if I can find it, but I rubbed acetone on it right there. All right, you got to get the light just right. I mean, it just glossed it, and it'll take lacquer thinner and all those. And it's funny. I have the water-based conversion varnish in my kitchen, and of course, as a person that does stuff for other people, you're always the last on the list to get things done. So I've had no hardware on my cabinets for a year and a half now. Okay, with 2 kids that are under 10 years old, and it still looks perfect. Absolutely perfect. Wow. And my family absolutely has abused these cabinets. I probably should do a walkthrough on it, but and I did not add a crosslinker or anything to it. And it handles those hand oils really, really well as well. So I just wanted to make mention of that.
Yeah. What funny story is with the acetone rub. When we came out with this product many, many years ago, I would go to my distributors who also carried some other brand X water-based products, and it's okay. I said, well, let's do this. I said, let's just side-by-side spray, and we'll evaluate it side by side. And so we would do a spray today, and then I'll be back. So here, you keep my sample. We do 2 sets. I said, you keep your samples, I'll keep my samples. I said, you sign mine, I'll sign yours, and would come back in 2 or 3 days around that time. And then I said, okay, now let's do the scratch test. We do the scratch test, and everything was comparable, so forth. And I said, okay, now let's do this. Let's get some acetone. And they would go, acetone, really? Get some acetone and get a cotton ball or rag, and we would, do 50 rubs. Do 50 rubs on that, 50 rubs on this. Boom, boom. So, a lot of the X brand products would rub off on the 10th rub.
Sure.
And we would go up to 50, and the gloss would lose, and you would see where you're rubbing it and so forth. I said, but yours is coming. I said, oh, okay. Let it sit. It recovers very well. It recovers very well. So that was my selling point. That was my dog and pony show back then. Trying to promote this product.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's awesome. And I have just for comparison, because the Malaysi's hot right now, but I mean, this is the Malaysi 1K. Okay. All right. A dark color, same thing. And then here's the CIC. Okay.
Right.
I mean, major difference. And, I'm not picking on Malaysi. I'm friends with those guys as well. But I just want to, because this is going to segue into what I'm talking about. There's a lot of buzz on, 2K polys out there right now, especially with Malaysi and Renner and some of the other companies. And there's also a lot of, site finishers and things. And there's been a lot of issues raised about health concerns and the isocyanates that are in water-based. And so I think this is a great alternative. And, look, this is a product that works really, really well and pretty much even if you're a newbie finisher, it's going to work well for you. And so I think this is a great alternative if you can't shoot the 2Ks or you're worried about the isocyanates in the 2K products that you need a higher chemical resistance. I mean, I think this is definitely the 1K coating for you, and you don't want to add, crosslinkers and all that, which you guys do have a crosslinker, but the funny thing is, you don't really need it. So what's the point?
Yeah, true. Some people, to honest truth, and full disclosure, us, we're very transparent and we like to be honest. The crosslinker, and the reason why we have it, the conversion varnish in itself, conversion varnish, the name there, it's converting into something, right? Take the solvent. If for example, a painter that has been using a solvent conversion varnish, right? What he does is, in his mind, let's say he's been spraying it for 15 years, he takes the conversion varnish and the next thing he takes is the catalyst. And he catalyzes the conversion varnish for it to dry. That's imprinted in their mind. Conversion varnish is actually the product. What it's supposed to do, chemical resistant, water resistant, kitchen cabinet, KCMA approved. So it's not in the process, it's the film, it's the product. But because of solvent for many years, and still to this day, the get it to dry and cure, you add the acid catalyst. So when we came up with the water-based conversion varnish, and we went back to these people that were spraying solvent, and okay, here's my conversion varnish. Where's my catalyst? Where's my? I need a cat. No, it says no. We would. This is a conversion varnish, and we would merit the product on the ability and the chemical resistance and the aesthetics of it similar to a solvent, because we used a benchmark of a conversion varnish solvent to develop our water-based. But in their mind, no, this can't be a conversion varnish because it has to have the catalyst.
Right.
So the crosslinker comes into play, and that's how we came up with the crosslinker. I mean, it's more of a suited need for somebody to think, oh, now I'm using a conversion varnish. You don't really need it. Let's say the conversion varnish in a scale of 1 to 10 it's a 9 compared to a 10, right? If you're adding the catalyst, you take it to a 9.1.
Right.
If I could give you a numeric value,
sure,
what you're adding that to, a 1 percentage of a percent. You don't need it.
The only place where I think it might be advantageous, and I'll leave a link in the description below to all the CIC videos that I've done, is sometimes in a pigmented situation, when you add those pigments in, it does soften the film. And if you need, if you're looking for a 2K poly type, durability, you can add that crosslinker, and it's going to be very similar to that, which is a great thing to talk about, because you guys did bring back the 2K product, and it is out again. And I have an example here of, I did a butcher block countertop, and I did an exterior door in it as well. You want to talk about that product a little bit?
Sure. Well, something, if you let me just finish up on the conversion varnishes.
Sure.
Really, I don't know if I've ever talked to you about this. It's not in our literature and stuff, but I've used it many times, and I would like you to test this out just for grins and giggles, as they say. Take the conversion varnish, and if you want to really turn it into a similar, or very close to a 2K product where it takes the hardener, take the polyurethane hardener, our hardener, and do a mixture of 8-to-1 of the hardener in the conversion varnish.
Okay.
And see the difference. Test that out. I've had customers that say, well, we understand the crosslinker. It's not really going to make it any more harder or any much more, so forth. I said, what else can we do to it to make it harder? And well, short of re-engineering something conversion varnish, right? I said, well, let's try it with the hardener, and by God, you'll see an immediate difference. Hardness. I'm talking about hardness. Mar resistance, abuse. The abuse of it just goes up through the roof, because you are introducing a hardener. Now, it's not in our literature. It's something that it's up to a customer's choice to do it. Gotcha. But try that out and see what you think.
All right. Yeah, we'll do a video on that for sure. As a matter of fact, what we'll do is I will tag it the same week. I'll release this on Wednesday, and then I'll have it come out on Friday with that in it. So that's great. I'm glad you brought that up so everybody can see it.
Okay. So going to our 2K polyurethane. Yeah, our 2K polyurethane, this was a product that we actually developed for exterior and interior use. And the way we came up with it, there was a distributor. There is a distributor still in Las Vegas. There used to be D'Angelo's, now Finish Masters. And we sell to Finish Masters. Finish Masters is nationwide, so that's our distributor. We're just starting the relationship because they bought D'Angelo's out. We're in a couple of stores, Northern California, Southern California, Las Vegas, Seattle, Texas, and Florida so far, but there's a lot of stores everywhere. D'Angelo's in Vegas did a lot of work for the casinos, okay? And you've been to Vegas, so I've been to Vegas. Those casinos, they love the people coming, enjoying, and spending money. Well, if you see all those customers that go there, the tables, the chairs, they get abused, right? They get abused, and then out in the pool, you got the lawn chairs and so forth, and metal parts and stuff. So the MGM group is what I'm talking specifically, who owns the Bellagio, the Mirage, the MGM, these group. They would use various products. They would use all these casinos, particularly the Bellagio. You have to understand, they're self-sufficient. The casino floor, underneath the casinos, there is a web of tunnels and shops underneath. It's a city underneath Las Vegas. Literally, it's connected. And if you get the preview to go down there, like I have the chance to go down there, there's metal shops, there's wood shops, there's finishing shops, there's upholstery shops. So what they do as these tables and chairs get worn, they send them down to the shop and to get refinished and sent back up, because you can't have a section down more than a day or two because you're losing revenue, right? So the MGM group had a product for the chairs out on the pool. They had a product for the wood and the floor. They had another product for the flooring. They had another product for, I don't know, let's say at the Bellagio, where they have the flowers, the plastic animated things and so forth. So they would have a lot of these products. This polyurethane, it's interior, exterior, it's a universal product. It will stick to wood, concrete, metal, and plastic. So we developed that polyurethane for the Bellagio. So they would have one product to do the chairs on the pool, the chairs inside the casino, the flooring stuff. And so they went from buying 4 or 5 different SKUs to one SKU. That's how we came up with that product. It's intended to that region. Now, there's a lot of other companies that use it for kitchen cabinets. There's a lot of other companies or contractors who use it for stairs, for railing, you name it, they use it all over. And so that's why we still have it. It's kind of known for it. And funny story, I was yesterday, I was at Las Vegas, our distributor, and I was walking in to drop off another sample, and here comes a customer right behind me, walking in with a 2K polyurethane, going to the distributor. I need more of this, and that distributor had not placed an order yet. Luckily enough, I had a sample in the car, and I managed to give it to him.
Nice. Yeah, and I mean, I'm glad you're bringing this up because, like, this is great. I mean, that's one of the things I love about you guys is, like, these are not these are industrial coatings. These are being used in commercial applications all day long, and they're made to take extreme abuse. And a lot of these other water-based companies, the quality of what you guys are doing is not there. In my opinion, you guys, I mean, in North America are at the top of the game in terms of water base is concerned. Now I do know that you guys have some European competitors, but as far as North America is concerned, I have not seen anybody that can touch what you guys are doing. So we've talked a lot about water base, but I know you guys have solvent base, and you have some new products. Let's talk about some of the new products, water base and solvent. You sent me a video of a spray out that y'all were doing on some high build lacquer that looked really, really nice and impressive.
Yeah. I sent you the video, and it's a high build product, pigmented, and it's a two system. You have the primer, right? It's actually a high build water-based acrylic primer that you put down, and so it's really thick. It really goes on, and it covers everything. And actually, the parts that I think if I remember sending you, that was MDF. That wasn't even plywood. That was MDF. That was one coat of primer and one coat of the water-based top coat, and it looked like $1 million. I mean, the primer, it builds, it dried, it wants to be. You need to get on that aggressively. You to the point where you're almost taking it off again. The better you sand it, the better your top coat's going to look. So inside that build, that's something that we're really excited about, and that line when it comes into our furniture, cabinet sort of stuff, products. The other thing we're really excited about is our universal primer that I think we need to send you a sample for you to test.
I'm still waiting, man.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, when I get off the phone, I gotta email Miles. I've been saying I'm gonna do that for like a couple of weeks, but I'm gonna jump on him.
Yes. So this universal primer is a water-based technology that he took the resin. That this resin is unique. It's very unique. And when I say universal, it's really, metal, wood, and sort of stuff. And the good thing about this process, the universal primer, along with some of the other coatings, but this universal primer has a tremendous on steel. I'm talking about steel. Wood, you wouldn't stick wood out in the ambient, but on steel, it has a tremendous amount of anti-corrosive, anti-fog, anti-salt testing. We've done tremendous amount of testing. This is for our OEMs, and we're really excited for our OEM metal side because it's going to be a game changer. There's not an existing primer right now in the market, and we don't care who they are, big boys or light boys, that has a water base that compares to the salt fog resistance of these products. We put it up in testing against known brands that sell to these industries saying, this is anti-corrosive, this is this. It blows them away. They're failing at 200-300 hours in these chambers, and 200-300 hours equivalents to months.
Right.
If you're salt fogging and you're actually throwing water and salt mixture into it, and you actually cut these panels, you actually cut the film so you can see how they deteriorate. Well, they're failing. Some are failing at 50 hours, 100 hours is tops. We're at 500, 600, and we're still going strong. We actually have to pull them out because they're not failing at 600 hours.
That's great.
Yeah. So he stumbled onto this from actually, and he might not like me saying this, but he stumbled onto this on this kind of like a fluke from another project that we're doing for Taiwan. He kind of stumbled onto this and figured it out, and I'm really grateful, and I'm really excited. It's going to be a game changer for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I stumbled onto Greg over at Annex and him wiping the acetone on the thing on a YouTube video. So, and here we are, man. So those are like some of the best accidental happenings. Those end up being some of the best things that come out of products and things like that. And there's all kinds of stories in all kinds of industries like that. So that's awesome. Yeah. I really want that because I've actually, one thing I want to bring up and that comes up a lot is because I've been a big proponent. I use a hybrid system with the water base where I use vinyl sealers and then I'm putting water base on top of it, and people always freak out about it. But your all's product works like, it's like they were meant for each other like that. But I'm really excited about, the water base because I've been in situations recently where people are saying no solvents in the house. No, I don't want any solvents. And I got 2 guys that I'm doing work for that they're like, no, dude, you can't do it anymore. I'm like, okay.
Right.
So yeah, I'm anxious to get some of yours because I've had to use a couple other brands.
Right.
But it's just life. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, it's just a flavor, and the customer wants what they want.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
I get it.
Yeah. So anything else new, or is that's pretty much the?
That's what we're excited about right now.
Okay.
There's a lot of other stuff that we're always this, and I think I've always one of the things that we're so proud of is we don't sit on our high horse and say this is our best product. No, we understand there's products out there that are better than our products, but we tend to learn from that. How can if our customer comes to us, or even if they don't come to us, hey man, I like your product, but X brand does this. We take that to heart and we go back to the drawing board and we listen, and we always are trying to make it better. Some products are good as they are. They've been on. They have a proven history. Conversion varnish, the polyurethane, those products. We had to revamp our 2K. We did have some issues in the past, and we revamped it. We listen. We don't take anything for granted. That's one of the things, and we're always saying, when we give out information, I know I've done this to you. It says, hey man, give me your honest opinion. What do you think? And that's something that we value a lot, and we want to really focus on that, because we're not everything to everybody, right?
Sure.
We're not. But we really want to pay attention, and we really want to be a good company that provides service and quality.
Yeah. Look, I'm living proof of that. I've been using your all's product for a long time, and I was like, look, there's an issue that's come up, and, you guys are working on it. And we're also, I've been talking to Miles about the 2K, and we're going to play with some stuff with that, because he said, look, we really, there's a lot of room for us to improve the 2K. We've got, there's plenty of lab time. We spent more time on the conversion varnish side, but listen, let's get together and work on some of this stuff. So yeah, I want people to really hear that CIC is dedicated to being the best out there. There's not a lot of companies that'll say that, and they're willing to work with their customers to make things better. So I just want to reiterate that, and I want to make that a point and I'm glad that you brought that up. I know we can convince Miles to get on here and do one with us. That'll be fun.
For sure. We'll both work on it, man. His time is so,
sure.
He's running like a chicken without a hit sometimes, but he's in the lab. But once you get him, he'll get excited. He'll talk your ear off. Coatings,
I know.
I'm telling you, he is a walking encyclopedia of coatings, my friend. Anything that's painted, that can be painted, he has developed it and done it in the past. So, fair warn. You wish what you get for him.
Yeah, well, we've had a few conversations. I'll never forget the day he called me. He was waiting on a plane at the airport, and I'm a talker myself, and I don't think I said one word. So
and you gotta love it, because you learn so much from him. I sometimes just keep quiet and let him talk, because it's like his brain is a sponge of knowledge. You want to absorb it all. So. I'm very blessed to be working with a person like that, and with a company that, like CIC.
Yeah. And also, I do want to mention that we are going to get together on some other stuff as time permits, and do some spray outs and some other things. And, one thing that I want you to bring up is you guys are going to be doing some classes with your products as well.
Yes.
So
thank you. Thank you for reminding me. What we tend to do over the years, we do water-based seminars, or water-based knowledge college. We come out to distributors, and we just did one beginning of the year, if I'm not mistaken, at Martin's Place in LA. And what we do is we come out and we talk about new products, but we actually talk about the existing products, and the pros and cons, and if they have questions, and we do spray outs. And classes are anywhere from 20 to 30 people, and it's a whole day event, and it's actually hands-on. Miles, myself, and give it. And we're planning to do one right now with Springer Industrial in the Phoenix area, and want to say end of October, beginning of November, where people could come out, because right now it's still a lot of hot, the sun kind of beats out on people. And so it's going to be end of October, beginning November, when we do the next one. And then as we go, we'll go back to California. We'll probably thinking doing one with Annex also. So that's how we do. We do college. We just call them, it's water-based seminar. We're going to change it to the college knowledge.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and definitely let me know when you're going to do those, and we'll make sure that we post that on all my social media platforms. And, here's your chance, guys. You guys are going to get to hang out with the guy that created the coating, so you don't want to miss that for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So
he'll answer any question you have, lengthy wise, but he'll answer it.
I don't know, man. It may be dangerous if we all get together sometime. We may not ever sleep.
True.
That'd be great. Here, one of the things that's always come up is where can you buy CIC? Now, I personally have been buying from Annex and Greg Saunders, and they do ship and will do color matches. But you also have some other options out there as well. Would you talk about those and let people know where they can get your products?
Sure, they can get them in. If you happen to be in Phoenix, we have 2 distributors in Phoenix. One is called Galaxy Lumber. They carry most of our standard product solvent lines. Very little, if not any, water-based. So if you're looking for solvent, your typical precats, lacquers, conversion varnish, primers, white top coats, all that stuff, all different sheens from full gloss to flat. You can buy it there. The other distributor is going to be Springer Industrial. Now, they are in the process of bringing in their first couple of loads of paint, and they will be a little bit more diversified than Galaxy Lumber. They are also in Phoenix. They will have a variety of products: water-based, solvent, wood, and metal. So they're a little bit more of a little bit more broad in spectrum. That's in Phoenix. Now, there's another account that we work with nationwide. And when I say nationwide, there's a location in Florida. There's a location in Oklahoma. There's another location in Las Vegas and several in California. That is called Finish Masters. They're a big player. They're a big distributor. They distribute from big boys like Axalta, Axo, PPG, Automotive, Industrial. They carry our line too. Not in all the stores. They have over 500 stores nationwide. The places that I mentioned, I think there's like 6 or 7 stores that carry our product. That's in, again, Florida, Oklahoma, Las Vegas, Nevada, and a couple places in LA, Oxnard, and working on a couple of places up in Oregon. So if you go to finishmasters.com, you can buy some of our product there. Another person in another good distributor would be Valley Wood. They're in Baldwin Park, California. Now he carries a wide variety of products, both solvent and water-based. I think, Eric, you've met the owner called Martin Gonzalez.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And so he's also another good option in the LA area.
Great. And I will leave a link in the description below to all of these coatings, but you can also find them on your website as well.
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yes, you can find our the distributors, the address, telephone numbers on if you go to www.ciccoatings.com.
Okay.
That's plural, and you'll find all our distributor lists. There might be 1 or 2 that has just come on board, but the majority that's been there, you'll find them there.
Great. And I may reach out to some of these guys because I just actually had a guy down in Florida ask me, and I didn't know that you guys had a distributor with Finish Masters down there. So that's good for me to know too, as I get people asking me about your product line. Now, also, I know that CIC is talking about you can buy direct from you guys as well. And let's talk just a little bit about that. And then I'm going to put all that information in the link below. And if people reach out to me, I'm going to have something together that I can send them direct to you guys as well. But talk a little bit about that, like what's going to be coming forward.
Right. All right. Right now, in the present time, they can go on our webpage, again, www.ciccoatings.com. And there's a section, information section, as if you fill out the information and there's you request for information, or there's a little box where I'm looking for a gallon of water-based conversion varnish, blah, blah, blah. Here's my address. Internally, you'll then get an email sent back. So, what are you looking for and how much, a gallon and so forth. And then you can buy direct from us. The only thing is we tend to, because we have a lot of distributors nationwide, we sell it a little bit higher than our distributors. For the simple reason, I don't want to call it protecting them, but we love to sell through distribution, but we also sell because we understand sometimes our distributor don't carry everything or they're out of something. They can always come to us. We are the manufacturer, and they can order it from us. But they have to go to www.ciccoatings.com, and there's a little section that says information, what you're looking for. You put your name, your address, email, and they will send you an email back saying, okay, we have a gallon. It's going to cost this much, and how would you like to pay for it?
Sure.
In the future, we are revamping the website where you then can place orders online. Click, like a storefront. I think that's the right word to say. It's going to be a storefront. So yeah, how long is that going to take? I'm not that technical. I can't. I don't know if it's going to take a month or several months. I can always ask, but it's gone from the drawing board to the actual planning stages. And I think you got an email from the CEO of the company.
Yeah.
Telling you that that's what they're doing. We're interviewing, and that's a great other thing. I mean, we're a medium-sized company. We're a medium-sized company, and the fact that the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company reached out to you.
Sure.
I mean, that's huge. That's huge. So that was very good on his part. That's what CIC is. We're very hands-on. We really worry about our name, our reputation. We want to do. Are we a perfect company? No, I'm the first one, and I think we're very honest and very transparent. Full disclosure, we make mistakes like anybody else, but we work harder not to make those, and we always take care of our customers.
Sure. Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, all right, Nestor, man, I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on and doing this, and we'll look forward to having you again, and we'll look forward to seeing these new products hit the market as well.
Eric, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much, and I appreciate your help and the gospel that you out there. And we think, CIC thinks very highly of you, and where we stand on our products, and we're always looking forward to talking to you and working with you.
Yeah. Well, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
All right.
Have a good one.